Double murder that occurred on Valentine's Day 20 years ago is now a top priority for two veteran homicide detectives who've come out of retirement to work only cold cases.
On Valentine's Day 2017, Virginia Beach was rocked by a chilling murder that nobody saw coming.
The greater La Crosse area saw a spring of violent crimes in the first few months of 1985. One murder case in particular remains one of the greater law enforcement mysteries in the region.
Ellie Tran, a loving mother, had no idea that the day meant to celebrate love would be her last.
Police arrested several people for a fatal stabbing that happened. A 15-year-old boy named David Gutierrez was killed, stabbed to death on a date with his girlfriend on Valentine's Day when he was jumped by a group of people at San Jose Santana Row. We're not exactly sure still how many people jumped him.
Joseph Molino, her abusive ex, had a sinister plan to end her life in a brutal act of vengeance. Armed with cyanide, a syringe, and a deep-seated obsession, Joseph ambushed Ellie as she arrived home, injecting her with poison in a final, desperate attempt to control her. What followed was a frantic, heart-wrenching sequence of events captured on her security cameras. Ellie's desperate cries for help, her mother's helplessness, and the poison slowly taking its toll. This wasn't just a crime, it was a calculated act of retribution. Stay tuned as we dive into the shocking details of a revenge-fueled attack that no one could have predicted. Don't miss the chilling details of how obsession turned deadly. Valentine's tragedy. On Valentine's Day 2017, the city of Virginia Beach, known for its safety and tranquility, became the backdrop for a horrifying tragedy. While most couples celebrated love, Ellie Tran, a 35-year-old mother of one, became the target of a ruthless, vengeful act. Ellie had moved to Virginia Beach after her divorce, working tirelessly at two jobs to support herself and her daughter, Jolie. Despite her efforts to create a peaceful life, her past followed her in the form of Joseph Molino III, her abusive ex-boyfriend and the father of her child. Joseph, consumed by anger and desperation, had been stalking Ellie for months after their breakup. He couldn't let go of the relationship, driven by a toxic obsession. His controlling nature escalated into violent actions, including a court-mandated restraining order that he ignored. On that fateful evening, Ellie arrived home, unaware that Joseph was lurking nearby. He ambushed her as she approached her front door, determined to take her life in a cruel, calculated attack, one that would leave her family shattered. Abusive past. Ellie Tran's relationship with Joseph Molino III had been a nightmare long before that tragic night. Their romance began after they met at a social function, but what seemed like a promising relationship quickly turned toxic. Joseph, who had been homeschooled after suffering bullying as a child, became obsessively controlling over Ellie. This behavior spiraled into emotional, verbal, and physical abuse. The couple's relationship was tumultuous, with Joseph exerting his dominance, manipulating and isolating Ellie from others. Ellie, however, found the strength to leave him. Despite the abusive relationship, she fought hard to create a stable life for herself and her daughter Jolie. She filed police reports and sought protection through a restraining order, trying to free herself from Joseph's grasp. But the damage had already been done. Joseph's need for control and revenge only grew stronger as Ellie gained her independence. Their daughter Jolie became a pawn in Joseph's twisted scheme as he plotted to regain control over Ellie, unwilling to let go of the past. Vengeful plot. Joseph Molino's obsession with Ellie Tran transformed into a dark, vengeful desire to control her life, by any means necessary. After their breakup, Joseph's rage festered, especially after Ellie began to rebuild her life. His bitterness was fueled by rejection, and a twisted belief that if he couldn't have Ellie, no one else could. He was determined to make her pay for leaving him, and he wanted to do so in the most devastating way. Joseph's sense of entitlement grew stronger, and he began to fantasize about a dark mob-like persona. He even manipulated his family name, trying to make others believe he was connected to notorious figures in organized crime, perhaps thinking it would intimidate people. His manipulation didn't stop at his own life. It extended to his daughter, Jolie, whom he wanted to use as leverage. His thoughts turned toward a violent, irreversible solution. He would stop at nothing to destroy Ellie's life, including using deadly force. His sick obsession reached its peak as he carefully planned Ellie's murder on Valentine's Day, a day that should have been about love, not vengeance. The cyanide attack. Joseph Molino's plan to exact revenge on Ellie Tran was chillingly methodical. After months of lurking in the shadows, he made the calculated decision to use cyanide, a potent and quick-acting poison, to end her life. Joseph's obsession with control had reached its apex, and he was determined that no one, not even Ellie's family, would stand in the way of his twisted desire for retribution. He knew that if he couldn't have Ellie, no one else would, and he was willing to go to any length to make sure she couldn't escape him. On the night of February 14, 2017, Joseph lured Ellie to her doorstep, knowing she would be vulnerable. As Ellie approached her front door, Joseph ambushed her with a syringe filled with cyanide. With no chance to defend herself, Ellie was injected with the deadly substance, causing immediate chaos in her body. The poison worked quickly, attacking her heart and lungs, leaving Ellie gasping for breath as she staggered toward her mother. In her final moments, she cried out for help, but it was too late. The effects of the cyanide took hold, and Ellie's life was rapidly slipping away. Fatal encounter. Ellie's final moments were tragically recorded by the security cameras she had installed in a bid to protect herself from Joseph's escalating threats. As Ellie pulled into her driveway, unaware of the danger lurking just outside, she was ambushed by Joseph. Dressed in a reflective vest to obscure his identity, Joseph lunged at Ellie and injected her with the cyanide-filled syringe. The poison quickly took hold, and Ellie, in excruciating pain, struggled to reach her mother for help. As Ellie made her way to the front door, she cried out, telling her mother that man had attacked her. Despite her mother's frantic efforts to help, Ellie's condition worsened rapidly. The cyanide-induced convulsions, and Ellie's body began to shut down. She collapsed, foaming at the mouth as her mother struggled to call 911. The scene was horrifying. Ellie's life slipping away in front of her family, her mother helpless in the face of the brutal attack. Within minutes, Ellie lost consciousness, and her fight for survival ended as she died in her mother's arms. Justice served. Joseph Molino's calculated crime didn't go unpunished. Just 2 days after Ellie's brutal attack, authorities arrested him. Their investigation revealed a chilling series of events, including his obsession with researching cyanide and methods to cover his tracks. His attempts to create an alibi using a fake online chat and coded letters to his family only unraveled his deception. Despite his claims of innocence, the overwhelming evidence against him, including his own online searches for cyanide and his stalking behavior, pointed directly to him as the murderer. In June 2018, after a dramatic 5-day trial, the jury found Joseph Molino guilty of first-degree murder. The evidence, surveillance footage, his prior abusive behavior, and his sinister preparations, left no doubt about his guilt. The jury took just 15 minutes to deliver the verdict. Joseph was sentenced to life in prison, where he would remain for the rest of his life, ensuring that he could never hurt anyone else again. Ellie's family, though grieving, found solace knowing that justice had been served, and her daughter, Jolly, would be raised without the presence of her dangerous father. What drives a person to commit such a horrifying act of revenge? Joseph Molino's relentless pursuit of control over Ellie Tran led to a tragic and devastating loss, but the investigation into his twisted plot revealed something even darker: his complete disregard for life and his manipulative behavior. Ellie's family fought to get justice, and while they've lost so much, they can take comfort knowing Molino will never harm anyone again. Ellie's story is one of pain, but also of resilience and justice. If you found this story shocking, make sure to hit the subscribe button to stay updated on more true crime stories like this. What do you think could have prevented such a tragedy? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't miss our next video: how online romance turned into a deadly trap, coming soon.